Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabelle Knight and I am the middle grade fantasy author of the book series Enchantria, which is now available as an ebook on Amazon and on Kindle Unlimited if you would like to read it for free. And today I am back here again with another book review, and the book I'm going to be reviewing today is definitely one of my favorite books. I absolutely love it. I just read it actually this November when I was sick. It has been on my to be read list for a very long time, except that it's not on Kindle Unlimited, so I have not been able to read it. But luckily my dad finally got Amazon Kids, Amazon Kids Plus I think it's called. And yeah, so I read the book and I'm going to be doing a book review on it. So the book I am going to be reviewing today is, hold on a moment. Okay, hold on a moment. Sorry for the wait. The book I'm going to be reviewing today is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This is, as I said, one of my favorite books, and I honestly just love everything about it. I love the characters, their relatability, their struggles, and all the world building and magic in this world is just amazing, and I loved it so much. The book is a middle grade fantasy. It is a pretty famous and also a pretty long one. It follows the adventures of, I think she was a 12-year-old girl named Sophie Foster, and ever since she was 5 years old, she has always been able to hear these voices in her head, which aren't exactly voices, because she has the power of sort of like mind reading, and she has just been hearing these crazy voices in her head ever since she was 5. After an accident that happened earlier when she was younger. But yeah, so basically she has been hearing these voices in her head for a super long time, and it's just absolutely crazy, and she thinks that she is just the only one on Earth who can do that. But apparently that is not so, because one day at school, she meets a boy who apparently turns out like he can do the same thing as her, and it turns out that Sophie Foster is in fact not human, and she is a telepath. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically like a play on the word telepathy. Telepathy is kind of like mind reading, mind transmitting, talking to each other with their minds. So yeah, it turns out that Sophie Foster and the boy she meets, Fitz Vacker, are telepaths, and they have the special ability to be able to read minds. And of course, Sophie Foster is not human, and after a bunch of things unfold, it is determined that Sophie has to leave her home and her so-called human parents to go to the hidden, like, elven world, the Lost Cities. And yeah, so basically she has to go there. Also, sorry for all the people in the background, or any background noise if there's any, because, well, I'm in a new filming spot. But yeah, she has to go to the elven world, the Lost Cities, and she has to get into Foxfire Academy to train and to be able to learn more about her abilities. But throughout this book, not all is as it seems, and there are so many secrets and so much more to Sophie Foster than just being any telepath. So yeah, I could go on more and more about this book, but this book is absolutely full of surprises and spoilers. I think revealing any more would probably give away all the spoilers, but yeah, I absolutely love this book. One of the main things I really love about this book is the world building. The world building is amazing. the world, the elven world, and I don't know, just the whole book. It all has like a very rich and deep history, but it's not over the top either because all... Okay, yeah, there's a dog over here. I don't know if you can see him. Hey. But yeah, there's a very deep and rich elven history that all really ties into the book. So it's not like J.R.R. Tolkien's like Lord of the Rings. Personally, I think the history over there is just a little bit over the top and very forgetful, but it's definitely not like that in Keeper of the Lost Cities. All of the history and world building is just so fantastical. It feels like necessary to the plot. Another thing I really love about this book is how the author really sets up all of the plot twists and plot points. I know, just all of the twists and secrets that are revealed throughout this book, because there are a bunch of them, and along the way the author really gives a lot of clues. She drops in a few tiny hints about all of the twists, reveals, and secrets up until like the big reveal. So, and another thing about the plot twists, a lot of times when I read books, plot twists they're not exactly great. They are surprising, but like too surprising. There are like hints about all of that. It's just a little too surprising, a little too out of the blue, and it just jumps out at the reader. So yeah, that's one thing you have to be careful of if you are an author and are writing plot twists. So I don't recommend doing so in the first draft. But anyway. Another thing I really like about the characters was their relatability. I love all of the characters so much. My favorite characters are definitely Sophie, Fitz, and Edeline. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to pronounce her name. It could either be pronounced Edeline or Edeline, or I don't know. I don't really know how it's supposed to be pronounced. I'm just going to pronounce her name Edeline. But I just love all of the characters. The most relatable character for me, at least, was definitely the main character, Sophie Foster. She just really has all of her like little habits and flaws and quirks. For example, one habit she has when she is super nervous is that she often like pulls out her eyelashes. I do not recommend doing that at all. Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, I just love how she has her flaws and quirks. Another thing I really like about her, and that made her just so much more relatable for me, was the fact that she is 12 years old, actually 13 at the end of the book, and she still has like her own stuffed animal, a bright blue elephant named Ella, and it was just so relatable for me because I am in the exact same situation. I just turned 12 earlier on October 30th, so I'm 12 years old and I still have my own stuffed panda. Her name is Izzy. You might have seen her in some of my other videos, the one about the announcements of Enchantria. Yeah. That just made Sophie so much more relatable to me, and it's one of the reasons why she is one of my favorite characters. The only thing I'm not sure about Sophie, I don't know. Throughout the book she does progress, her character deepens, so that really helps, but I don't know, in some parts of book 1 she does have the feel of a Mary Sue. Sometimes she is definitely not a complete Mary Sue, but in book 1, for me at least, I just think that sometimes in some scenes she has the feel of a Mary Sue. Just sometimes, just the feel of it. She's definitely not a Mary Sue. But yeah, one of the things that contributed to it was that all of the tribunals she faced, I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. But anyway, it's just all of the tribunals that she faced throughout one year. If you don't know what those are, tribunals are sort of like trials, court trials held by the counselors for any elf who has broken the law. And it is serious enough to... Okay, so like tribunals are super serious because in the elven world, elves don't usually break a lot of laws. So when an elf does break a law, it is very serious. So a tribunal is called tribunal. How am I supposed to pronounce that word? Okay, whatever. So yeah, Sophie definitely faces a lot of tribunals in one book. Over the course of a year. I don't know, personally, I think she does get off the tribunals a bit easily. Like, oftentimes they just give her detention or such. I mean, it would kind of ruin the story if Sophie was literally just sent to jail or something like that. But also, at the same time, not giving her, like, a super serious consequence like that does make her seem like a bit of a Mary Sue, which I was not a fan of. But yeah, other than that, Sophie was overall very relatable. I really enjoyed this book. One of my favorite scenes in this book is definitely when Fitz finds Sophie, the two of them meet, and she finds out that she is a telepath because it really has a strong sense of surprise and like a new world is opening up and lots of secrets are revealed. So yeah, that is definitely one of my favorite scenes in the book. Okay, so I'm going to talk about one of the things that I did not really like about Keeper of the Lost Cities. And honestly, it might have just been me because I was actually sick with either stomach flu or food poisoning while I was reading this book. It's just that terrible things happen to the main character. And while I'm not saying you shouldn't let your main character face terrible things, you should absolutely, definitely, always give your main character a ton of struggles, and one of the things Gail Carson Levine said was to make your characters suffer. And that's true, but while I was reading this book, Sophie Foster does face a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but let's just say... Okay, I can't really reveal the specifics without giving away spoilers, but it was just a pretty traumatic experience. I honestly prefer books that do have character suffering in them, but they keep all of the traumatism to a minimum because, I think for middle grade fantasy go a tad bit lighter on all the traumatism. So yeah, that's one of the things I didn't really like about this book. And honestly, with all the traumatic things the main character was going through, I was sick while reading this, reading about all those traumatic things. They didn't exactly make me feel any better. Rather, kind of just the opposite. So, yeah, that's not so great about this book. But honestly, it might have just been me. The character suffering is a good addition to the book, but I would not recommend it if you are in need of a more lighter, happier story. If you're in need of that, I recommend you read Percy Jackson, Narnia, or Wilderlore. So, yeah. Well, overall, I have to say that I did enjoy this book. It does improve drastically as the series goes on. And also, yes, this is a series, a really long series. It's a whopping 9 to 10 book series. I think it was 9 books. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's 9 books. But anyway, it is a huge, massive series. And that brings me to another note. If you are reading Keeper of the Lost Cities, please do not attempt to read it all in one sitting. Most of the books are longer than a usual YA fantasy, and it's supposed to be middle grade fantasy. And while I do enjoy a good long book, attempting to read through all of that in one sitting will get your brain all confused and muddled, or at least it does for me. So yeah, I don't recommend trying to read it in one sitting. But yeah, overall this is a brilliant book. The world building is amazing, it's creative, it has a lot of new twists on things, the characters are amazing and just so relatable. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely recommend it. I recommend it to people who are fans of middle grade fantasy that has a lot of in-depth history and world building, and I would definitely recommend it to people who are fans of Jessica Townsend's Nevermore. Also, that is another wonderful book. Definitely go check that out. And yeah, overall, I enjoyed this book. It took me a while to read because of the lengths, but honestly, I enjoy a good reading challenge, so I'd also recommend it to fans of middle grade fantasy who want a great reading challenge. If you want one, this is definitely the perfect book for you. So yeah, I think this wraps up this book review of Shannon Messenger's Keeper of the Lost Cities. If you liked this video, if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you would like to learn more about me and my own middle grade fantasy book series, definitely head to my website, springfallschronicle.com, to check out like a few things about me, a few writing updates. I also do a bunch of book-related stuff there, like book reviews, writing updates, and a whole lot more on there, so definitely go check it out. And also, I know that this is the month of November, therefore it is currently NaNoWriMo, and yeah, most of you will probably know what that is. It is a writing challenge in November to write 50,000 words, and yeah, over the course of NaNoWriMo, on my website, I will be posting a bunch of writing updates, a few writing tips, and a bunch of pep talks to keep you going through this whopping writing challenge. So definitely head to my website if you are interested in that. And yeah, I think that is all I have to say for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Hold on, this camera is ridiculously far from me and ridiculously high. Oh, just spilled my water. Okay, yeah, thanks so much for coming. I'll see you again in the next video, and bye!